I know a guy, he's a treasure hunter by trade. Very cool old guy, Australian guy, lived in Perth. For years, he's like, I know where this certain Spanish ship went down. Long story short, he finds it, right? Digs up one single gold coin, and he's like, it's here, I know it's here. He's a big spear fisherman, adventure guy. Goes, spends tens of thousands of dollars, he's not a rich man, spends tens of thousands of dollars, gets all this excavator equipment, goes to this very remote area of northwestern Australia, pulls up something like $10 million worth of treasure, takes it home, legally declares it all, tells the government, gets all confiscated. They give him 3 or 4 pieces. Here's this guy who would have retired, been a wealthy man, you know, had his whole life taken care of because of this thing he was obsessed with and then found, and then got the tools on his own dime to go and get it, declares it, has it confiscated.
Wow, that is nuts. I know I would be heated. What's going on, y'all? We got another banger for you. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. We are going to get deep into the waters to see what we can find underwater. Let's go. Bro, I watch a lot of Deadliest Catch, and man, I can tell you that those waters are unforgiving.
If anyone was wondering what authentic pirate pocket change sounds like, it sounded like this. These are all authentic Spanish copper coins struck between the reign of Philip III and Carlos II between 1556 and 1700 AD. They all originally depicted a castle on one side and a lion on the other side, but most of them were overstruck or counterstruck with different symbols. Those included the 8 for 8 Maravedis, the VIII, also meaning 8, and different dates. These usually say 1652, 1641, and I've got these on my site for $10 a piece. So check them out, ancientresource.com.
I wouldn't mind a couple. If you could send me a couple. Maybe we need to get together and have our own excursion, see if we can find our own treasure. You know, I feel like that would be a lot of fun being a treasure hunter. What do you guys think? Hunting artifacts, all types of stuff. Let's do it. I need one of these, y'all. That is slick. No ships on the horizon. You know, we're in those deep waters. That'll come in perfect, y'all. What do y'all think?
The Fenn treasure, which is real-life buried treasure. Diagnosed with terminal cancer, antiquities dealer Forest Fenn filled a treasure chest with over $1 million worth of gold and jewels. After unexpectedly recovering from his cancer, Fenn self-published a memoir in 2010 that contained clues. He said that he hid the treasure, quote, in the mountains somewhere north of Santa Fe, and that in his book was a poem that included 9 clues that would take the reader right to the treasure. He wanted to give people hope and a feeling similar to the excitement he felt while searching for art and artifacts. And he did. Searchers formed communities, and some even quit their jobs to search full-time. But the search had a dark side. Several searchers broke laws like trespassing and damaging cultural sites. 5 people died while searching for the treasure, and authorities urged Fenn to call off the search. Fenn refused, but told searchers not to attempt anything that a man in his 70s couldn't do. After 10 years of searching, it started to seem impossible. Then all of a sudden in 2020, the treasure was found by a man who wanted to remain anonymous. Following this, Fenn said that the treasure, quote, had not moved from the spot where I hid it more than 10 years ago. The finder, a medical student named Jack Stoof, later revealed his identity because a lawsuit was expected to reveal it for him. Fenn died just a few months after the treasure was found. Before he died, he revealed that the treasure had been found in Wyoming. Searchers have begged Stoof to say exactly where it was, but to this day, only he knows where the treasure was found.
Wow, that is interesting. You know, I watched that show Longmire, and I believe they had something similar to this. And the scenery on that show up in Wyoming is just gorgeous, you know. I could imagine just looking for the treasure around there. It would be just fun in itself, you know.
Top 5 lost treasures. Number 5, the Ark of the Covenant. It is an ancient biblical artifact that is believed to have held the stone tablets inscribed with the 10 Commandments. Number 4, lost Fabergé eggs. These 8 Fabergé eggs were created by the House of Fabergé in Russia for the Russian imperial family between 1885 and 1917. Number 3, jewels of King John. They were the crown jewels of England's King John, who reigned from 1199 to 1216. They were lost in the Wash, a large estuary on the east coast of England. Number 2, lost Inca gold. The lost Inca gold refers to the legendary treasure hoards of the Inca Empire. Number 1, Dead Sea Copper Scroll treasures. The scroll is an ancient treasure map written on a copper scroll. The scroll supposedly lists several hidden caches of gold and silver treasure. Top 5 lost treasures.
They found these yet, you know. How cool would it be to get together? Do you guys know if these treasures are still out there, or has anyone found them yet? You know, that's interesting that they could be sitting at the bottom of the sea just waiting for someone to find it.
Tutankhamun's hidden treasures. This is the entrance to the tomb of the Egyptian pharaoh Tutankhamun before it was excavated by the British in 1923. The seal is still intact and has not been touched by anyone for over 3,200 years. More than 58 artifacts were buried in the young king's tomb, including 3 extremely noteworthy artifacts. And the last artifact raises a big question about the understanding of ancient Egyptians. The first artifact is the king's chariot. The burial of a chariot with the king is very unusual. Some theories suggest that Tutankhamun may have died from falling off this chariot, so it was buried with him. The second artifact is a statue of the god Anubis. According to ancient records, this is the god who oversees mummification and guides the souls of kings to the afterlife. Finally, the controversial artifact is an iron dagger. After many years of research, it was concluded that the material used to make this dagger did not come from Earth. It originated from outer space, also known as meteoric iron. Today, meteoric iron is extremely rare, and its price is even higher than gold. Surprisingly, thousands of years ago, ancient Egyptians knew about this type of iron, and in their records, they called it iron from the sky. Tutankhamun.
Let's keep going, y'all. Get deeper in these waters. Damascus, I believe it was called Damascus. Very cool stuff. Interesting.
The Copper Scroll is an ancient artifact that was discovered in 1952 near the Dead Sea in Israel. Unlike the other Dead Sea Scrolls, which are primarily written on parchment or papyrus, the Copper Scroll is unique because it is made of thin sheets of copper. It is believed to date back to around the 1st century CE, during the time of the Second Temple in Jerusalem. The scroll was found in a cave near the archaeological site of Qumran, which is famous for the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls. However, unlike the religious and literary texts found in the other scrolls, the Copper Scroll is a treasure map, or an inventory list. It does not contain any religious or historical writings, but rather lists of various locations and details about hidden treasures. The Copper Scroll is written in a cryptic and concise manner using a mishmash of ancient Hebrew and Greek. The language and style of the writing have made it challenging to interpret the contents accurately. Some speculate that these treasures are mere symbols, conduits to spiritual enlightenment rather than the material wealth. Nevertheless, the Copper Scroll remains an intriguing mystery and continues to captivate the imagination of archaeologists, historians, and treasure hunters alike. Will the treasures ever be found, or will they forever dwell in the realm of the unknown, locked away in the depths of time? The tale of the Copper Scroll persists, an eternal whisper of ancient secrets, beckoning those who dare to unlock its mysterious allure. Recently released findings, researchers working on the Montevideo Tholos megalithic tomb unearthed a remarkable find, a 5,000-year-old crystal dagger. This translucent weapon is being hailed as the most technically sophisticated ever discovered in prehistoric Iberia, situated in southwestern Spain. The intricate carving skills required to craft such a weapon are truly impressive. The dagger plus other points were found beside the most important woman in ancient Iberian history, the Ivory Lady. The study was carried out collaboratively by experts from the University of Granada, the University of Seville, and the Spanish Higher Research Council.
Looking at is a photo that was taken in 1974 of what became known as the Terracotta Warriors. It's a collection of over 8,000 life-size clay soldiers that were made over 2,000 years ago in ancient China. If you look at the original bright colors on those soldiers, those disappeared within minutes when they were exposed to sunlight and air. Now, the Terracotta Warriors were built by the first emperor of unified China, and they were put in place to guard his tomb. They all have unique facial features, different weapons and uniforms. They were left standing in precise battle formation and according to rank. Now, the figures were found in a massive network of underground chambers. They were discovered by farmers that were digging a well in 1974. The actual emperor's tomb is somewhere near the mound on the top of that photo. They've yet to excavate his tomb for a couple different reasons. One is they don't want the colors to flake off the precious artifacts. Second is that ancient legend has suggested that it's booby-trapped, including a crossbow that'll shoot anyone that tries to break in.
Bro built a booby trap for his treasure. That's nuts. I gotta go see it.
So this is where the obelisk used to be that was taken to the Palace de la Concorde in France. You can see the other obelisk here, but what a lot of people don't realize is look behind this seated statue. Compare it with the back of this seated statue. This appears to be an obelisk that hasn't been separated from the statue yet.
Unbelievable ancient artifacts found on the ocean floor. Here we go. The kingdom of Cleopatra was lost for over 1,600 years until it was found in Alexandria, Egypt, underwater. In 1988, marine archaeologists started excavating underwater to find unbelievable amounts of ancient artifacts. Some of the discoveries included foundations of a palace, statues, shipwrecks, and numerous other unbelievable artifacts. Besides finding a goddess and a sphinx, they also found the son of Cleopatra as a statue and the lover of Julius Caesar. So far today, archaeologists have found over 20,000 unbelievable artifacts under the ocean. Marine archaeologists think that 20,000 items is just the very tip of the iceberg. If given the chance, would you dive down and check out this unbelievable underwater world?
Yes.
As usual, no problem.
I would die in a heartbeat.
Archaeological survey of India discovered something amazing under the water in the Gulf of Cambodge. This would change the history of India and the entire world forever. It appears they have found the mythical city of Dwarka, once thought to be just a legend from the ancient text, the Mahabharata, now officially located with very compelling evidence. Finding different stone sculptures, structures, pottery shards, and wooden artifacts that would allow them to carbon date this site to over 9,000 years ago. What is now 70 feet underwater is 100% an ancient city of India that clearly looks to be the once mythical city of Dwarka founded by Lord Shiva. In Sanskrit, Dwar means door or gate, so Dwarka was the gate to India, a once thriving city now underwater just off the coast of northern western India. In the year
That underwater city is crazy. I bet you there's a portal or something under there that connects it from two different points.
Cannot be explained. Number 1. A 3400-year-old city known as Eriki Inc. was discovered in the Kurdistan region at a site called Kiman. The city was originally located on the Tigris River before it was swallowed up. Number 2. The Yonaguni Monument, located off the coast of Japan's Ryukyu Islands. This massive structure, which is 50 meters long and 20 meters wide, has been nicknamed Japan's Atlantis and is believed to be more than 10,000 years old. Number 3. Several megalithic stones, known as the Spanish Stonehenge, resurfaced after recent droughts. The official name of this site is Dolmen of Guadal, and it consists of 150 granite stones that are around 5,000 years old. Number 4. More than 80 historical sites, including jails and cemeteries, were uncovered on the Rahiz River as the waters receded. These sites belong to an ancient city called Tildus and date back thousands of years. Number 5. The water levels of the Yangtze River have dropped, revealing a submerged island in the southwestern city of Chongqing in China. On this island, there are 3 Buddhist statues that are believed to be at least 600 years old. 5 underwater discoveries that cannot...
It's like as soon as these waters dry up, it's exposing everything like the Euphrates River. It says Jesus statue found at the bottom of the ocean.
The legendary beginnings of Heracleon go back as far as the 12th century BC, and it's mentioned multiple times by ancient Greek historians. The city was said by Herodotus to have been visited by Helen of Troy before the Trojan War began. It's also said to be the site where the divine hero Heracles took his first footsteps in Africa. Known as Thonis by the Egyptians, Heracleon was originally built on adjoining islands in the Nile River Delta and was intersected by canals with a number of harbors and anchorages. The city was one of Egypt's main ports for international trade and the collection of taxes. Around 150 BC, several major earthquakes followed by tidal waves led to a 110 square kilometer portion of the Nile Delta collapsing under the sea, taking Heracleon with it. It's been left relatively undisturbed beneath the sea for thousands of years, its sand and other debris covering the remains of the city, and making accidental discovery very unlikely. In the early 2000s, however, a group of divers working off the Egyptian coast found a large piece of rock under the seabed and brought it up to land. It was a section of Hapi, the god of fertility, whose statue stood at the western mouth of the Nile as a gatekeeper for Heracleon. They continued searching and eventually unearthed 6 more pieces, along with other treasures, including the ruins of temples, shards of pottery, precious jewels, coins, oil lamps, processional barges, and busts. As the years have gone on, more and more artifacts continue to be found. In 2021, a team from the European Institute for Underwater Archaeology, led by French marine archaeologist Frank Godiot, uncovered new parts of the underwater city. The new discoveries included remains of a large tumulus, a Greek funerary area, along with sumptuous finery offerings that suggested, quote, spectacular ceremonies must have taken place there. The discovery of these kinds of artifacts within Heracleon points to the interplay between pharaonic and Greek societies, and the role trade played in binding the two together. Ongoing surveys and excavations of Heracleon bring new knowledge of the fallen city every year. Pavlopetri, Greece. Located in the Peloponnesus region of southern Greece, lies the underwater ancient city of Pavlopetri. Submerged 4 meters underwater, some consider it to be the basis for the legendary story of Atlantis. Nearly 5,000 years old, and dating from around 2800 to 1200 BC, it is the oldest known underwater city in the world. Sea level rise. Heracleon, Egypt. Sea level rises and 3 to 4 different earthquakes pushed the city down until it was submerged around 1000 BC. Although Pavlopetri has eroded over thousands of years, the town layout remains as it was. This is thanks to shifting sands and the settlement's enclosure in a protected bay. Discovered in 1967 by Nicholas Fleming and mapped by a team of archaeologists from Cambridge, Pavlopetri was an incredibly well-designed city, with roads, 2-story houses with gardens, temples, a cemetery, and a complex water management system, including channels and water pipes. The center of the city was dominated by a large plaza, measuring around 40 by 20 meters. Although Pavlopetri was uncovered over 50 years ago, it wasn't until 2009 that the city was able to be properly surveyed. The University of Nottingham, under the direction of Dr. John Henderson, began a 5-year Pavlopetri underwater archaeology project, which used a combination of archaeology, underwater robotics, and state-of-the-art graphics to survey the seabed. Marine archaeologists, aided with 3D sonar mapping technology, were able to digitally survey the entire site, and what they found completely surpassed all expectations. They uncovered thousands of artifacts, which helped create a deeper understanding of what everyday life would have looked like in Pavlopetri. Ceramics dating back to the end of the Stone Age suggest that the city was so old that it existed in the period of the famous Greek epic, the Iliad. The discovery of a possible megaton, a monumental structure with a large rectangular hall, also suggested that the town had been used by the elite, elevating its status. Historians believe that the ancient city was a center of commerce for the Minoan and Mycenaean civilizations. The future of Pavlopetri remains uncertain. The fragile remains are at risk due to their lack of protection, pollution, waves, current, and tourism. With less than 1% of the ocean floor having been surveyed to date, it's places like Pavlopetri that keep the idea of an Atlantis alive. Yonaguni Monument, Japan. The sea off Yonaguni, the southernmost of the Ryukyu Islands in Japan, is a popular diving location during the winter months due to its large population of hammerhead sharks. In 1987, local diver Kinichiro Aratake, a director of the Yonaguni-cho Tourism Association, noticed a series of almost perfectly carved steps with straight edges, submerged 25 meters below the surface of the sea. Shortly after this discovery, a group of scientists directed by University Professor Masaaki, sea level rises and 3 to 4 different earthquakes. Professor Masaaki Kimura visited the formations. The group claimed that the stepped monoliths must be man-made and that they were at least 10,000 years old, possibly a remnant of the mythical lost continent of Mu. In a 2007 revision of the statements, Kimura changed his stance and estimated the formations dated to 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. He believes he can identify a pyramid, castles, roads, monuments, and a stadium. Some historians believe that Kimura's claims are pseudo-archaeological and that the steps are a product of nature. Indeed, the site resembles natural formations seen elsewhere in the world, with distinctly defined edges and flat surfaces, such as Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland, whose interlocking columns were formed by a volcanic eruption thousands of years ago. The formations are also attached to a larger rock mass, further propelling the idea that the Yonaguni is a natural phenomenon rather than man-made.
I wouldn't be so sure about how those steps were created. You might want to do your research about that.
Neither the Japanese Agency for Cultural Affairs nor the government of Okinawa Prefecture recognizes the features as important cultural artifacts, and neither has carried out any research or preservation work on them. Although Yonaguni's mythical origin story may be untrue, it will likely continue to fascinate a generation of divers to come. Van Fortress, Turkey. In 2017, a group of divers discovered a lost castle in the depths of Lake Van, the largest lake in Turkey. From around 2007, the team of divers, led by underwater photographer Tahsin Seylan, explored the waters beneath Lake Van, documenting microbiolites and archaeological sites. In 2016, the team found a structure outside the harbor of Adil Sivas, a town in Turkey that has been inhabited for thousands of years. It wasn't until 2017 that the fortress was actually discovered, with its walls starting within the harbor and continuing beyond. The site of the ruins covers about 1 square kilometer, with walls as tall as 3 meters in some places, and is thought to be 3,000 years old. The spectacular ruins are believed to have been built by the Urartian civilization, an Iron Age kingdom that was centered around the lake and has other stone fortifications nearby. The castle is made primarily of cut stones, and one of the divers found a lion drawing on one of them, a popular motif among the people of Urartu. There had been reports from around the 1950s and 1960s of the existence of the structure, with one intriguing paper published in 1958 by archaeologist Charles Allen Burney and G.R.J. Lawson, discussing a medieval castle whose builders had reused blocks that had been constructed by the Urartians 3,000 years ago. More research is needed to determine exactly what the ancient remains consist of. Xicheng, China. Often called the Atlantis of the East by travelers, the ancient underwater city of Xicheng, meaning Lion City in Mandarin, is a time capsule of imperial China. Located 40 meters under Chandao Lake in Zhejiang Province, 400 kilometers south of Shanghai, the city was flooded by the Chinese government in 1959 to make way for the Shenam hydroelectric dam required for the province of Zhejiang. Approximately 300,000 people were relocated as a result of the project, some of whom had families that had lived in the city for centuries. Many residents were connected to the city based on ancestry and culture. It is believed that the city was built during the Tang Dynasty in 621 AD, making it nearly 1,400 years old. The stone architecture is made up of 5 entrance gates, breaking the Chinese tradition of having only 4, and 265 archways feature preserved stonework of lions, dragons, phoenixes, and...
It's interesting that, that you could still see the detail of that, that they made so long ago. That might be some ancient tech.
Historical inscriptions. The features date to the Ming and Qing dynasties, with the surviving stonework dating to 1777 and the city walls dating to the 16th century. The city was rediscovered in 2001 when the Chinese government organized an expedition to see what might remain of the lost metropolis. Interest in exploration continued in 2011 when the Chinese National Geography magazine published photographs and illustrations hypothesizing what the city might have looked like in its heyday. Although the city is not huge, its underwater remnants have still not been fully mapped out. Today, advanced divers can get up close to the ruins, with several dive operators offering regular dives between April and November. Plans for an underwater tunnel to open up Xicheng to the general public are in the works. Despite being submerged underwater, the city is protected from wind, rain, and sun damage, keeping it a well-preserved relic of Chinese history.
Alright, y'all, that's it for today's episode. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button, man. And if you made it this far, drop a 100 in the comment, man, so I know you real, man. It means a lot to me. I appreciate you guys for stopping by, man. Hope y'all had a great day, man. Everything went smooth for everybody. And, yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.